Welcome back, everybody. Sports Federation TV. Right, we're moving straight into it now. We're talking about show jumping, and with me on the show now is Anne Bosman, the chairperson of Show Jumping Western Cape, and Daniela Smith, coach of show jumping in the Western Cape. And just before the break, before we came back here, the two of them started having a debate about exactly who coaches where and how coaching works. So Anne, welcome, and Daniela, welcome to Sports Federation TV.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, there we go. We get warm into this. And you're the chairperson.
Yes.
You fall in under equestrian sport, of course, in Western Cape, which is how sport's made up in South Africa. How's show jumping going in Western Cape?
I think show jumping in Western Cape is up and coming, and it's really alive.
Yeah.
And we really try to make it more interesting and get it going more and more, and we always compare ourselves to the Gauteng riders who's got everything.
Are they the ones that are getting all the best?
In Gauteng it's the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
We've got all the horses, lots of coaches.
Yeah.
And the best in the country, I would say.
Yeah, yeah.
And yes, and yet from the Western Cape, we always have a lot of very good riders that go up to and then live in Johannesburg, because they struggle to actually compete here at the highest level.
Okay.
First of all, because we haven't got the numbers to actually have those higher classes.
Yeah, yeah.
And we always find it very difficult to. We've got restrictions traveling up and down with African horse sickness.
All right, Daniela, let's bring you into the picture. You're coaching. Let's start at the beginning. How long have you been coaching, and how did you get into show jumping?
I've been riding all my life. Started when I was 5. Been coaching for about 20 years. It's my passion. It's,
Where were you when you started?
I did start in Gauteng.
Gauteng.
Yeah.
I had a feeling we had to import you.
Yeah, I did start in Gauteng.
Yeah, and so now where do you do most of your coaching? Because we were kind of vacillating earlier on about you. You were explaining it to me that you have different coaches and different structures.
Yeah, I'm a freelance coach, so I don't have a base like a lot of the coaches have in Gauteng. They have a yard and then they coach from their yard.
Yeah.
I freelance, so that means I go to private yards and I coach people there in their own home on their own horses. All areas of Cape Town.
Yeah. So is that how show jumping kind of is constructed? A lot of private places, as opposed to
in Cape Town, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. In like I say, in Gauteng, you've got your big yards, your main yards, and they stay in their yards and they coach there.
But when you talk about a yard, are you talking about a yard? It's not someone's backyard.
No, I'm talking about a stable yard of like 60, 80 horses.
You're right. Okay. So we're not talking about private, someone's private house
back,
in the back. They've got a horse in the back.
No.
Okay. There's proper yards, stable yards. All right. And let's just talk a little bit about the competitive structure. Show jumping. I think when one thinks about equestrian sports, the Olympics, the first thing that comes to know, and there's so many equestrian sports, from dressage to coaches, and we've had
cross-country events,
endurance.
Even we've got a whole bunch of different equestrian sports. But when we think equestrian sport and we think about the Olympics, everyone thinks about show jumping.
Yes, I think that's at the top of the game.
Yeah,
it's very
but
elitist.
It's got the numbers, 70% of the.
And most people do that actually compete in equestrian to show jumping.
Okay. So
it's huge overseas.
How many athletes would you say we've got in the Western Cape?
We've got registered athletes about 997 to be exact.
Yeah.
Of which there are some non-riding members that are owners. We've got a few also that are just clubs and studs.
Yeah.
But we've got. We've got 213 riders under 13 years of age.
It's an
and about 450 adults, juniors. So it's very active.
You're active. You're busy. Yeah. How difficult is it to get into show jumping? Obviously, do you have to have your own horse?
You don't always have to have your own horse, but you have to have a horse.
So you borrow somebody's horse.
There are people who do that. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a very expensive sport.
A horse.
Yes.
You can lease a horse.
Yeah.
How do you lease a horse?
Say I buy a horse.
Oh, you can have the right to ride it 3 times a week and then compete on it. It's up to the
So you're not,
between the
so
owner.
you're not going to Westbank with a bank and saying I want to buy a horse, I'm going to lease it.
No.
No.
You go to private owners.
No.
You get them from
You
private owners.
gotta excuse me. I gotta.
No,
These questions
absolutely.
as if
Yeah.
I'm an absolute fool, which I pretty much am. Folks, remember a little bit later in the show, I'm giving you an opportunity to win yourself a case of Bashu's cool drink, all right, since 1899. So keep your cell phones handy. With me is Ann Bosman. She's the chairperson of Western Cape Showjumping, and of course Daniela Smit, freelance coach here in the Western Cape, that's making sure that we bring back many champions. She's from Johannesburg, but she says to me that soon all the showjumping champions will be living in the Western Cape because she moved down from here. They're all following. But we're getting better as well. How are our athletes doing, Daniela?
We've got a small pond, but we're very strong. When we do go up there, we certainly hold our head. We've actually just come back from SA Champs, and the Western Cape adult team has won the interprovincial. So we are very happy in the moment, and we gave them a good beating.
The Western Cape are currently the South African champions.
Yes, our team won.
Team won, yeah.
Tell us, and just tell us a little about that, inter-districts. How does that work?
That was the interprovincial in Gauteng.
Okay, yes.
So all the from all the provinces, KwaZulu-Natal, Eastern Cape, Western Cape, we all go to a venue or a certain province. It's on a rotational basis as of this year, and then the competition is there. So we've got teams that are chosen in each province, and then they
at first have an inter-district.
Yeah.
To select your provincial side.
Yes, we have a. This year we had the first inter-district that was held at George, and it was part of their spring festival. But not necessarily are those riders then selected, because it's a very new thing, the inter-districts. It was a wonderful show. It was a really big show in George with huge numbers, and the venue was fantastic.
Inter-districts is of course where the districts within the Western Cape will compete against each other first before they go to a provincial level. So West Coast and
so you got your
Overberg,
lower levels.
It's all the lower levels, everybody.
The 6 districts of the Western Cape.
Yeah,
the
all the
Overberg
6
group are doing really well.
Yes, and I think there's also the group in Eden. Yeah, they are doing very well.
I'm sure Sylvia Bracknell will be very proud of.
She's very proud. She's doing a lot of hard work. Yes, so that was wonderful. So that competition was a really big, huge success, and we'll have more of those. We'll have another one next year.
So, Daniela, let's wrap up with you just from an athlete perspective, high performance side of things, taking it to the next level. It is an Olympic sport. How do we go to the next level from here? You've just taken the Western Cape team, and you guys have gone and won the South African champs. Of course, you want to win the world champs, and you want to go like upper level. What do you need for your athletes to do better?
Great sponsorship.
So let's say I give you 100 million rand. What will you do with it? How do you make an athlete that is on a horse better?
Well, again, it comes back to the African horse sickness regulations that we are struggling with. To get horses out of the country takes a minimum of 3 months, because we have to go via Mauritius of 2 months quarantine. And that makes it very difficult because you're dealing with a live animal and many things can go wrong, and it makes it hard. We have a couple of individuals, our top riders have taken 3 or 4 horses out in the moment, and they're sitting in Mauritius at the time, and they're doing it on their own.
But as a coach, what would you be looking at as an athlete, a youngster who's on a horse, who's got a lot of potential and can go on to be a champion? What do they need to be concentrating on? Gym work or nutrition?
Definitely cross-training, for sure. I do believe, yes.
Okay.
And
fit and strong.
Yeah, and exposure, also just go overseas and see and try and get, in there before you even take your horse to see what it's involved, and that doesn't, to have that cutting edge
competition time.
Yeah.
Daniela, thanks for joining us. We're looking forward to your progress. Congratulations again. And obviously Western Cape's doing very well, so we're very proud of you guys.
Yes, and we're very excited because next year we have our first SA Adult Championship here in the Western Cape. So all those top riders from Johannesburg and everywhere will be coming down here.
Hang on, before we go, we quickly got to look at some of the photographs. I completely forgot about that. Let's take a look at the first picture that you sent us. There's someone jumping over a very lot of high pile of bricks there. Tell us about that.
Well, that's what we call a wall, and it is quite a spooky fence. And that particular one was a joker and an accumulator, which is just a specific type of jump.
And next picture here.
This is a very young lady, and she's very up and coming, and she's got a great BMT. She's maybe 12 years old, and she's definitely one to watch for the future. Yeah,
looks almost painted.
Yeah, they do call it paint.
They're paints. They're patches paints. Yeah. And then we've got another. Is this the same young lady?
No, this is also very good. She's won junior champs, I think, or she's also very, very up and coming adult rider. Yeah, all show jumping.
And then there's a nice picture here with.
Those are the three actually. Yep, and they won the 1 meter 20.
Are those the South African champions?
No, those are the champions that won at the George Interdistrict.
At the Interdistrict.
So the Unicity team, which were those three, they won that competition.
Right. Okay, well, we're going to leave it at that. Thanks again, Anne. Thanks for coming in. And we look forward to watching your progress.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, folks, as I mentioned earlier on, if you want to win yourself a case of bash shoes, after the break, we're going to be chatting with world gymnastic champion Bianca Zonnekant. It's not often that we have world champions on the show. She comes after some rather vicious vehicle accidents, and she goes overseas and competes and wins the world championships. She's just done a tour here in in Cape Town at least, where she's been going around to the various clubs to contribute, and it looks like the kids really have loved the fact that Bianca's been around here. So if you want to win yourself a case of bash shoes, 33090 is the number that you need to text. Just SMS the word bash shoes to 33090, and you can put yourself in the mix to win one of those cases of cool drinks from ginger beer to orange, pineapple, cocoa pine, cream soda, raspberry, and iron brew. Congratulations to last week's winner, Monique Jossi. Monique walks away with a case of bash shoes. Right, we'll be back after the break when we catch up with Bianca Zonnekant.